want to bring back in the czar, Mike Fratello, and you cover the Cavaliers on a regular basis, and we're going to get to that side all throughout the night. We have a WNBA doubleheader for you. At the end of the night, we'll give you a complete recap of this big trade. But the big picture in the NBA is Daryl Morey, the GM of the Rockets, put it, it's an arms race. How much closer does this put Boston to closing the gap with the Golden State Warriors?
That's a tough question because Golden State is going to be really good for at least the next 3 years. Okay, that's the way everybody looks at it right now. And can you play the style of play that gives you a chance to beat Golden State? Or do you play a style of play that Golden State has to make an adjustment to? Can you pound them in areas that aren't the strongest spots for Golden State? Because you know you're going to have to score against them. You have to score enough points to beat what they're going to put up on the board. You have to get out and defend them in their perimeter game, in their transition game, a team that moves the basketball, which moves your defense. Do you have that type of athlete to go up against them? Without question, this trade takes Boston, as was just said, to a different level. Isaiah Thomas is a great player. He's an all-star player. He scored almost 29 points per game last season, shoots the ball almost exactly the same as Kyrie Irving does, but it's a different level player, Kyrie versus Isaiah Thomas.
We haven't heard from Kyrie about this supposed trade request, right? We obviously know that at this point it was true, and David Griffin, the former GM, had talked publicly about it as well. But now the pressure's on Kyrie. Right, he's joining a really good team, a stable organization with a good foundation. But Kyrie is the clear-cut best player. Can he be the best player on the best team in basketball as per his reported wish?
Well, let me just say this, first of all. Kyrie's the luckiest guy in the world because he could have been put into 2 years of purgatory if someone had come up with a better deal than Boston had, and if they really wanted Kyrie and believed that they could get him to stay with that franchise, he could have been playing for the next 2 years on a team that won 30 games, 35 games. And he would have gone from all those finals in a row to saying, I want to be traded, and wind up in a place where he's winning 30, 35 games. That didn't happen.
No.
He wound up with a team that's got a chance to go all the way to the championship series. So good for him. The request was made. Management looking at it, how to protect themselves. What they got is a chance for now, the immediate, to win games, and also a little piece for the future down the road, just in case LeBron leaves.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you would rank these players in today's NBA, but you think about the All-Stars that have been traded this offseason, starting with Kyrie Irving, Isaiah Thomas, Chris Paul, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, rank them however you want. There's no doubt, with that 18 Nets first-round draft pick, the Cavs got more for Kyrie Irving than any other team got for their star in return.
Well, that all depends on what Brooklyn winds up doing this year. I think right now many people are saying the Nets are going to be horrendous next year. They've been that way for the last 3 or 4 years. This is a different Brooklyn Nets team coming back. They've added a couple pieces here and there. They made a trade. They picked some free agents up. And under Kenny Atkinson, they played hard, okay? And they were close in so many games that they couldn't finish in the fourth quarter. And the Eastern Conference isn't all that powerful this year. There are a lot of teams who are starting over again, whether you want to look at Atlanta or Chicago. So maybe Brooklyn surprises a lot of people, and that first-round pick isn't quite as high as you think it might be tonight.
If you're tuning in for WNBA action, we welcome you into breaking news here with Kyrie Irving traded to the Boston Celtics. We'll get you back out to Minnesota with the Lynx, led by MVP candidate Sylvia Fowles and Maya Moore, up by 15 over Phoenix. That coverage continues in a moment. But here, let's get to the other side of the coin. Isaiah Thomas goes to Cleveland, and Czar, you saw this, being in Cleveland. It seemed as if the ultimatum was there. If LeBron's not going to commit, then we're going to try and go as young as possible. It seems like Kobe Altman, the GM, maybe found the happy medium here between getting a young piece in the Nets pick for next year and also 2 guys that can help LeBron James today.
Well, let's go one step further. I think everyone understands that what happens this season to the Cavaliers is so important to the big picture. Does it encourage LeBron to, yes, re-up again and sign another contract? Well, how about this? There's talk of Chicago perhaps buying out Dwayne Wade. So how about now Dwayne Wade is out of Chicago, has a choice of where he wants to go next. He just happens to decide, I want to go to Cleveland, try for a championship this year. Now you got Rose and you got Wade and you got LeBron James.
Can I throw one more in there?
Yeah.
With the pieces that Cleveland netted, do we now go back to Carmelo Anthony and see if he reopens the door to wanting to go to Cleveland? Because the initial thought was he was only going to waive his no-trade clause to Houston because of the pieces around him. But now, maybe he feels the Cavs wouldn't have to give up so much where he could walk in that door and compete for a title.
You'd have three of the guys together there on the one team. Then you'd have Wade along with LeBron and Carmelo if he should allow that to
Are you on the
happen.
front of that banana boat? How does that work with that?
I just think they have to figure it out.
Yeah.
They want to be together. It's their job to figure it out and play together. But let's face it,
Love will find a way.
two of those guys have had a ton of experience in the finals. So Carmelo can jump on board. He'll follow their lead. Isaiah Thomas, we need your 20-something points a game when you can do it.
Okay, so, as you mentioned, LeBron is always the elephant in the room, right? And we can't imagine that LeBron has given it any sort of indication to Dan Gilbert, whether he's staying, whether he's going, whether he doesn't know yet what he's doing next season. But ultimately, Dan Gilbert reportedly made this promise to LeBron. We're going to do as much as possible, spending over, $75 million just in luxury tax dollars. Do you think this could still leave the door open for LeBron staying, or are people in Cleveland just convinced no matter what happens, he's gone?
I think people's mentality is right now that he's going to leave at the end of the year, but you don't know with LeBron. LeBron's his own man. He's got his own mind. He's got his group that he confides in and believes in. So when you get to the end of the year, that's when we're all going to find out. But right now to say LeBron already knows, I'm not sure that's true.